One of the most common things people say to me when we get talking about content creation is, I'd love to start a YouTube channel, but, and then they always have some kind of but I'm too old, but it's too late, but I don't think I'll be able to make any money at it, but I don't think anyone will watch. And I had all of those buts too, less than 5 years ago when I started my channel, and I've now been a full-time content creator for the last 3 years, and across my 3 channels I've got over 175,000 subscribers. Yes, there's all of those buts. So my job in this video is to take away your buts. Hello folks, my name's Kevin Chapman and I've been a full-time content creator on YouTube for the last 3 years. Welcome to my new channel. This is a channel where we're going to be talking about how I did that. How I took myself from being a man in his 30s who'd never really used YouTube very much to being able to do it full-time within 2 years of starting. If that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on so you don't miss out on new videos when they come through, and why not pop a thumbs up on the video as well, just to show you're excited for some new content. And if you get any questions come up during this video, don't be afraid to make use of the comment section down below, or come and find me on social media, or when I'm live streaming. I stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, 8 PM UK time. All the descriptions of that are down in the description below, and I'm happy to discuss this over there, on social media, down in the comments, wherever. The whole idea of this channel is for me to help you get your channel up and running, which of course leads to the topic of this video, starting a YouTube channel in 2020. It is the most common question I'm asked, which is why we're doing this as the first video on the new channel. Kev, how do I get started? So in true internet tutorial style, I've made a bulleted list and we'll go through it point by point and just give you the basics. We'll go into more detail on all the basics over the coming weeks and months, but these are the basics. And if you get the basics right, you've got half the battle won already. So the first thing you need to do when creating a YouTube channel is work out what you actually want your channel to be about. You'll often hear this described by people as finding your niche. And it doesn't have to be as complicated as it sounds. It literally is just making sure that you know what it is you want to do. It's all well and good just wanting to make a YouTube channel and then see where it goes. And if you're only in this for fun, if you just like the idea of creating content, then just open up a channel and upload whatever videos you feel like whenever you feel like uploading them, and you'll have a lovely time. What you won't do, almost certainly, is grow that channel for it to be something that you can end up doing as a full-time business. To do that, you need to be a little bit more focused. You need to have a tightly targeted channel that you can then send out into the ether and have people find it, come back, who are going to be interested in the kind of content that you're making. Now, obviously, for a lot of you, you're already going to know what kind of channel you want to make. For me, when I first started, I wanted to make a channel making videos about my favorite video game, Football Manager. So that's what I did. I created a channel and started uploading Football Manager videos every day, and everything else kind of grew from there. So I didn't have to dig too deep into working out what my niche was. But then later on, when I decided I wanted to add some non-Football Manager content, I did have to go through this process and work out whether it's something I could put on that same channel I already had, or start a new channel and begin again from scratch. And as this is now my 3rd channel, you can see that I'm very much of the view that in order for a channel to be successful, you have one channel about one thing, and if you want to do a second thing, you put that on a second channel. So to work out what your most important thing is, if you've got multiple ideas, I would just grab a pen and paper, draw a big old Venn diagram on it like you would have done when you were at school. We want 3 circles on your Venn diagram. One of them is going to be things that you're interested in. Next one, things that you're good at. And the one below, things that people might be interested in watching videos about. And you're literally looking for a point where those 3 things intersect. Feel free to go through the process of filling a huge Venn diagram in if you want to, but I think for most of us, we could probably get a rough idea of our interests, which ones we're most knowledgeable about, and from there we can probably work out which ones are likely to be most interesting to people. If you don't know if something's going to be interesting to people, Google it. Or put it into YouTube, see if there's already content being made like the kind of content you're interested in, and if there is, see if it's getting views, and if there's not, maybe there's a reason why it's not, unless you've had the most original idea in the world. So I'm assuming a lot of people here at the start of this channel are here off the back of either my gaming or my vlogging channel. So you probably want to do one of those two things. So if you are looking to do gaming, maybe narrow it down to a specific genre of gaming or a particular video game. And that's where you would then make your list of the ones that interest you, intersect that with the ones that you're good at, and then the ones that are popular. And if you can find that point where they cross over, that's probably your sweet spot. And that's what I did with Football Manager. It's the game I've enjoyed most over my entire life. I'm actually pretty good at that game as well, although the comment sections on my channel would sometimes disagree with that. And it was an area of content that was getting a decent number of views. It wasn't a hugely popular game, but there was enough interest there to show that it was possible to go out there and get views. And it's a genre that's now continued to grow over the time that I've had that channel running. So I guess the fourth secret bit when you're finding your niche, the little sprinkle of magic, is you have to have a little bit of luck involved as well. But it's less luck than you think. It seriously is. Once you have your niche, the next thing is choosing your channel name. This is relatively straightforward because you probably already have a good idea of what you want to be called. If you have a nickname or a gaming name or a business name, then you're probably going to name it after one of those things. If you don't have any of that stuff at the moment, probably you're best off just calling it yourself. I have two channels other than this one. One is my gaming name, lollujo, which has been my Xbox and PlayStation gamer tag for long before YouTube was even a thing. I had that username, so it was obvious that's what I was going to call my gaming channel. My other channel, my vlogging channel, is just my name, Kevin Chapman. Again, I've had that name quite a long time. It was easy to pick to use that name. What I would suggest you consider when picking your name, though, is if you're absolutely certain you're always going to make the same kind of content in the same kind of genre, you might actually do a little bit better in search results if you include a little element of that in your name. So for example, with my original channel, which was about Football Manager, the abbreviation of Football Manager is FM. So I took lollujo, my gaming name, and put FM on the end of it and called my channel lollujo FM, because what that did in the early days was if people typed FM into YouTube, it gave a little bit of a boost to my videos because I had that not only in the title of the videos and the description of the videos, but also in the name of the channel. So it gave me a little bit of a boost early on. On the flip side of that, you'll have noticed I've now removed the FM from the channel name because I didn't want to be tied into only making Football Manager content. So be careful of tying yourself too closely into a really narrow niche if you think there's a possibility you might want to move out of it later on, because there's always challenges associated with changing a channel name. So if you call yourself Bob's Hedge Cutting because you're really into hedge cutting, and then you get 3 years down the line and you'd like to start making videos on cutting the grass as well, you know, people are expecting hedge cutting because that's what the name of your title. So you might have been better off calling it Bob's Gardening Channel to begin with. For the record, all of those pretty rubbish names, but hopefully you can do better than I've just been able to do off the top of my head. So once you've got your niche and your name sorted, the next thing to do is to head over to YouTube and actually create your account. So you should already have a Google account, presumably. If you don't, just create one. You do need a Google account to get set up on YouTube, and from there head to YouTube. You've probably already got a login anyway. You can just click on the little button that'll have your avatar on at the top and hit create a channel. From there it asks you stuff, just say get started. It will say, do you want to use your name or do you want to use a custom name? So we've already picked our name, so you'll know. So let's make Bob's Hedge Cutting. So we've got Bob's Hedge Cutting. He's decided cutting the grass, not for him. He just wants to do the hedge cutting stuff. So Bob's Hedge Cutting. I understand the terms and conditions, and we have a channel now called Bob's Hedge Cutting. Ta-da! Now you can upload a picture. I would say 9 times out of 10, you're better off uploading a picture of your face for this, unless you're creating a channel for a business or a brand and you want to put the logo of the business or the brand on there. More often than not, just a picture of your face is fine, so you can upload that on there. And then you tell your viewers what your channel is about. This is where you might want to start sprinkling in some keywords of the kind of videos that you're going to be making. You don't need to go too crazy with this. It doesn't need to be a sales pitch, but something along the lines of, hi, I'm Bob. I love cutting hedges. On this channel, we'll be looking at all of the latest cutting edge hedge cutting techniques and technology and having a jolly good time doing it. We've got some keywords. We've got hedge cutting. We've used cutting twice because I probably didn't need cutting edge in there. But we've also tried to set a little bit of a tone for the channel, make it a little bit light-hearted. We've told people what kind of videos to expect. You probably want to use more than 181 of your 1,000 words. But when you're doing this, you're probably not going to be recording it for a YouTube video. You can then add links to any websites or social media that you might have. I would recommend, if you want people to be able to find you on social media as well, fill these in. If you don't, if you want your YouTube to be a secret, and I know some people do feel that way, they like to keep their YouTube hidden initially, then by all means leave your social media off for now, but I would link anything and everything, because as soon as this is up and running and you start getting videos on it, you want to drag everybody in and get them everywhere and get your social media on there. On that note, my social media links are all down in the description below. Spoilers, just type lollujo just about anywhere and you'll find me and be able to follow me from there. So I'm just going to hit save and continue from there. You can skip all this in the setup process if you want and go back and sort it at a later date, but that's literally all you need. You now have a YouTube channel, which is amazing. This is the bit where you can go in and add stuff and change stuff if you want. So if you want to change your about page, your description, you can just hit customize channel. This is where you can set the location that you're in. So I'm in the UK, not Yemen. I need to learn where the U button is on my keyboard, but I'm in the UK. If you want companies to be able to email you business inquiries, you can add a business email in there. I'd probably avoid putting a personal email in, but if you want to set up a whole new business account, maybe the one for your new Google account you've just created, you can stick that in there. So I mean, Bob is expecting all of the latest and greatest hedge cutting companies to be getting in touch, trying to do sponsored videos with him at some point. That gives you a way for those people to get in touch with you. You can add more of your social media or other links down there as well, but really a lot of that stuff you can save for later. I would strongly recommend getting some channel art sorted sooner rather than later. At this point, if you're graphically minded, creatively minded, you can create your own. There's going to be some stuff coming up on the channel over the next couple of weeks showing you some other ways you can get some really good graphic stuff for your channel as well. Or, I mean, in the early days, you can just pick one of the standard ones if you want. I quite like this boat. I want this boat, particularly the boat. So let's adjust the crop. We've now got the boat. Up here, we can put a little photo of Bob in if we want. He probably should. I'm not going to, because spoilers, Bob's not real. I don't have any pictures of him. And then from here, you can do all sorts of fiddling and adjusting a YouTube channel, which we'll look at a later date, because the only thing you really need to worry about at this very early stage is once you've got your channel sorted, you just hit upload to upload your video, which you will have recorded, and then you just drag and drop it onto there. And when it's finished uploading, you stick on a title, you write a description, you put a few tags at the bottom, and you hit publish, and that is your first video done. Now, on the topic of those first videos, I would strongly recommend in the early days of your channel, this is your time to experiment. Experiment with the style of your videos, the length of your videos, the frequency of your videos. It's the best time to experiment because nobody's going to be watching anyway. It's one of the facts of life on YouTube that in the early days of your channel, you're kind of just shouting into the wind and nobody is going to know what you're doing. Very few people are ever going to watch these videos. So this is where you can try new things, work out what works for you. Eventually, as a few people do start to watch, you can start getting some feedback from them to get an idea of what they like and don't like. If you've got feedback on this video, that's what the comments section is for, folks. But experiment early on. Play around with it a little bit. Do what you feel is right, and eventually you'll find your flow. You'll find your way of making videos. Don't go out and buy cameras and microphones and all sorts of fancy stuff like that at the start, because seriously, when you first start, this is all you need. A mobile phone. You can record everything you need to record on one of these. The microphones aren't terrible on them anymore. Most phones can even record in 4K, which you don't need. 1080p is plenty. And just point the phone at yourself, record it. You can edit it on your phone. If you've got an iPhone, iMovie is fine for editing, and you can then upload straight from your phone. If you've got an Android, I'm sure you can do it on there too, but I don't have an Android, so I can't recommend any software. I'm sure someone will let us know down in the comments some good editing software on Android, but just do it all on your phone, get it uploaded, and then go again. The key early on is to experiment and just do it a lot. The more you make YouTube videos, the better your videos will become. And also the more videos you make, the more mistakes you can get out of the way, and the better it is long term. You want to make as much content as you can, as quickly as you can. The more experienced you get at anything, generally, the better you get. As long as you're trying to make each video better than the one before, It's all a learning process, and that is how you should be viewing the early days of your YouTube channel. It's all about learning and finding your style and your voice. Of course, if you want to make gaming videos first up, your phone's probably not much use to you, but there's free software for you as well. OBS Studio, we'll be doing some videos on this in the coming weeks. OBS Studio is a free download. You can capture your game just straight off of your computer. It doesn't cost you any money to do. I'm sure you've probably got a webcam. If you don't, there are some relatively cheap ones you could get, but I probably wouldn't bother straight away. Get used to talking whilst gaming to begin with and get some videos up, experiment, find your voice, all that kind of stuff again. But you've probably got a webcam. If you're a gamer, you've probably got a webcam. You've probably got some kind of headset with a microphone built in. None of it's going to be perfect early on, but it's going to be good enough for you to find out if you enjoy making YouTube videos. And if you enjoy it, you'll get better at it. And with time, you'll start to earn money doing it. And you can then spend that money on upgrading your kit. At the beginning, don't spend loads of money on kit. Just get started making something. And then eventually you'll reach the point where you've kind of settled into a routine. You know the kind of videos you like to make. You've experimented a little bit. You've got your routine. Your videos are starting to feel a lot more like videos, and people are starting to watch. And at this point, we change everything. not everything, but at this point we stop the experimentation a little bit, and it's time to nail down a schedule, because YouTube values consistency over quantity. So you're better off making 1 or 2 videos a week and always releasing them on the same day at the same time than you would be aiming to release 5 or 6 videos a week, but they don't always come out on the same days, and they just come out when they're ready, and sometimes they're a little bit late, and some weeks you don't manage to get all of them done, so you only release 4, so you try and make up for it next week and release 8, and that might feel like you're working harder, but it's actually going to be harming you in the algorithm. You're better off setting the bar a little bit lower than you expect to be able to achieve, and just hit it, be consistent with it. And if after a couple of months of a consistent routine, you find that you've got loads of spare time and you can add an extra video in, do that then. Add another release day, but don't try and go straight into daily every day if you can't fit that into your schedule. You'll have learned roughly how long it takes you to make a video when you're in your experimentation phase. So be realistic about how many videos you can make a week, then cut that number in half and make that your schedule, and work from there, and stick with each schedule for a good couple of months to give YouTube time to get used to it. And then if you want to change it, but don't tweak everything too often, because one of the most harmful things you can do, especially in the early days of a YouTube channel, is to constantly be changing the kind of videos that you make, how often you upload, all that kind of stuff. Try and change as little as that as possible once you start gaining traction. Like I say, before anybody's watching, when you're experimenting, doesn't matter, because nobody's watching anyway. But as soon as you start to pick up viewers, as soon as YouTube starts to notice you, at that point, don't change what they noticed you for unless you've really thought it through and you know what you're doing. And from there, it's just a case of sticking to it. Most people who fail at YouTube didn't actually stick at it long enough to find out if they were going to fail or not. Almost all YouTube failures are people giving up because they've decided that it was too much work, or they weren't getting the rewards they wanted quickly enough. If you're stopping because you don't enjoy it, then that's absolutely fine. That's a separate thing. I wouldn't recommend anyone continues grinding at it if they don't find it fun, because it won't ever become fun. If it's not fun at the start, I promise you, at the start is when it's most fun. So if it's not fun at the start, it ain't ever going to be fun. Maybe find a different thing to spend your time doing. But if you are enjoying it, don't give up, because it takes a long time. It takes a long time of consistency and hard work. I was doing YouTube for over a year before I earned a penny from YouTube. It took me 2 years to get to the point where I was getting any kind of decent quantity of views. Yes, at that point, I jumped the gun and went full time, because I'm ridiculous. I wouldn't recommend you go full time the same way I did and as early as I did. That's a story we'll tell at some point on the channel. I'm a lot less risk averse than a lot of people. But yeah, don't give up. You've just got to keep plugging away at it. And it might feel like you're constantly making videos and nobody is watching, and that might be the case. But as long as your videos are getting better all the time, that means when somebody does start watching, they're going to have higher quality stuff to watch and a nice back catalogue to go back through where they can find you. Because the last thing you want to do, you don't want 10,000 people to find your YouTube channel on your first video, because they'll find it, have a look to see what else you've got to decide if they're going to subscribe, see you don't have anything else, and oh, this is just a one-hit wonder. What's the point? I'm not going to subscribe to this. If you get 10,000 people come to your channel when you've got 200 high-quality videos on there, then they're going to subscribe because they're going to watch 3, 4, 5, 6 videos and then think, yeah, you know what? This person's consistently good. I am going to subscribe to this channel because I like what they're doing. You've got to keep reminding yourself that in those early days, as long as you're improving and as long as you're being consistent, it doesn't matter if no one's watching. That being said, tip number 8 is that you absolutely have to hustle for your first 10 subscribers, your first 100 subscribers, your first 1,000 subscribers. Those first 100 subscribers will be the ones you have to work hardest for. They'll be the most, that'll be the longest it ever takes you to get 100 subscribers. It'll be the most difficult 100 subscribers to get, because I promise you, your next 100 will come a lot easier. The same goes for your first 1,000. Your first 1,000 subscribers, it'll never take you that long to find 1,000 subscribers again, and it'll never be that hard to find 1,000 subscribers again. It all gets easier once you get over those first hurdles. But in those early days, YouTube is not going to recommend you. YouTube is not going to show you up in search results if you have almost no subscribers, almost no views, because they have no track record of you. They don't know that it's safe to promote you, because bottom line, YouTube promote creators who are going to keep people on YouTube longer so they can watch more adverts, so YouTube can make more money. And if you've got no track record, they're not going to promote you. So those early days of your videos, they have to be people you're literally grabbing in almost off the street. Probably don't grab people off the street, but friends, family, people you know off social media. Grab them in, show them your videos, and ask them to subscribe. Ask them to watch your videos. Slowly but surely build up a community of people that you probably already know, most of them, and encourage them to do the same with their friends. If you've got a friend who's watching your videos and likes them, suggest to them that they maybe would like to share it out to some of their friends, see if they'd like to watch them too. Gradually bring new people in, person by person, and eventually you'll start to notice a few people subscribing you don't know where they came from, and that means YouTube has finally started noticing you and it's finally starting to send a few people your way. And once that starts, as long as you are consistent, as long as you continue uploading on your schedule, as long as you continue uploading high quality videos, once that little trickle from YouTube starts, it starts to snowball and snowball and snowball. And as long as you keep the consistency going, that snowball doesn't necessarily ever need to stop. It just keeps on rolling, because YouTube are now recommending you to people. Those people are liking your videos and watching a lot of them, which means YouTube is seeing high watch time, high viewer retention, which means they're going to recommend even more. And it then becomes this massive thing. And that's what you're looking for. But that can't happen to a channel that has no subscribers and no views. Those early days, you have to jumpstart it yourself through whatever means you can. And that will be a topic for another video at some point too. So that has been my whistle-stop tour to creating a new YouTube channel in 2020. If you've got any questions, like I said before, use the comment section or come and find me on social media. Twitch or Twitter are usually the best places to get hold of me and have a conversation. I'm lollujo on both of them. I'm on Twitter all day, every day. I'm on Twitch 4 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, UK time, 8 p.m-ish until reasonably late. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on any of those places, or down in the comments to this video as well. If you have got some value out of this video though, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on it. Subscribe to the channel, get your notifications on so you don't miss out on the next one. Maybe share the video with someone else who you think might get some value out of it too. And hopefully I'll see you back in a couple of days' time for the next video here on the channel. Thank you very much for watching.